Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I was trying to see if the thing was working, but it actually was. That's why I was paused for a bit. But welcome to the Actors Area. I'm your host, as always, Sean Grant. So happy to be here with you. So happy to be able to share some amazing insight once again. And as always, just want to take the time out to thank you guys for all your support. You reach a place sometimes in life, and in this case in your career, where you realize the importance is not so much what you get, but rather what you give. And, for me, it was coming to this place of basically I wanted to leave a legacy greater than what I accomplished on camera. And so for me, in the deepest depths of my soul, it's about helping as many performers as possible through, my gifts, my insight, my experience, and offering that out to the world and allowing it to be a relatively free resource, and some people say, you know what, you have so many gems and so much good insight that you could really charge. And you know what, I could, but I've been so fortunate to be so blessed and to be able to do all the things that I've done and really just finding it in my heart to give. All I'm saying is that that's what's important. And you may find a time in your life where that, or in your career even, where that becomes important. And I just want you to know, do it. Technology has made it to a point where it is so easy to get your voice out there. It's so easy to put all the value that you have out into the world. And I'm going to tell you from experience, don't worry about what you get back, because it will come back. It won't come back from the same avenue you're putting it in, more than likely, but it will come back. So with that being said, guys, so important. Today's episode is it comes down to believing in yourself. And so for me, this really hits home because on numerous occasions, I've encountered so many different instances where the only other person to believe in me was me. That's a bit of a joke, but I was basically the only person to believe in myself. And as an actor, this can be a lonely place to be. It can be like sitting on the ledge of a cliff, and all of a sudden here comes a big old bear, and the only thing you can do is just jump. You can stand there and try to fight, but you might get overpowered. All you can do is jump and see if you can find that crosswind to help you to fly and fly freely. And anywho, it becomes a place that if we're not prepared to stand strong, to be patient, to embrace what is happening now and look intuitively to find the lesson, it can crush us. It can crush us to the degree of we'll wind up quitting. We'll wind up, thinking that everybody who told us we were crazy, thinking that they were right. And you know what? I want to say something. Anybody who tells you you're crazy, anybody who tells you you don't know what you're doing, anybody that tells you you're wasting your time, anybody that says, I don't know how you're able to do this, that's a terrific sign. That's a sign that you're on the right track, because these are people really looking out and trying to see what you're going to do. So for them to say that, they're basically saying that you are doing something that I never could, which it makes sense because God put the dream in you. He didn't put it in them, you know? And so in life, you know, yesterday we talked a little bit about cycles of life and how not every cycle is a cycle of harvest. Not every cycle is a cycle of being still or searching or growth. Cycles of life change, and those cycles of life are exactly the same as it relates to our careers. The problem is because a 9 to 5 is so redundant, or a job that's consistent is so redundant, you can't ever really see the effects of those cycles, right? So, but when it comes down to acting, because there's so many different moving parts, like I just love it when people say you're crazy to be in this, because that just shows how brave and courageous I am. Like, there were times where I didn't know how I was going to pay this, or I didn't know I was going to pay that, or if this was going to come through, and stuff would come through at the very last minute. And it's been such an exhilarating experience because all it does is reaffirm how strong I am. And it's the same for you. It reaffirms how strong you truly are when you're able to put yourself into a place to where you put the love of something above anything that looks like lack. And that's what moves you forward, and that's what opens doors in the universe. No matter how long it takes, you put your love above what you think you're lacking. Put your love into something, and it works out for you every single time, you know? So this episode was more or less about just staying the course, you know, staying the course and getting back to what we were talking about, you know, when it comes to cycles. I think acting is one of those things because, or any type of entrepreneurial job where you're working for yourself or you're being contracted out, like there's no work for 49 weeks out of the year. It could be like you start the year optimistic and you work maybe 2 to 3 months out of the year, and that's kind of that, you know. But the cool thing is those 2-3 months out of the year could produce a year and a half worth of income, and you could be set to do other things that you enjoy doing. So all I'm saying is when you're not booking, you know, and you may think, if you've listened to the past podcasts, the past episodes, you may think that I focus a lot on stuff not happening, but what I am doing, or my objective is, just to be clear, is I desire actors and actresses to be prepared for anything, okay? I desire them to be prepared for anything because the truth of the matter is if you're not, your foundation is going to crumble. You are going to break into pieces the moment your expectation is shattered, right? You expecting, can you imagine? And like I said, I'm telling you, it's coming from the mouth of somebody who lived it. You know, you go into a year thinking that you're going to book all these jobs, and you either book one or you don't book any at all. And it becomes a situation where you are completely distraught about everything, and you lose your sense of self. So my objective in going through that as a younger performer is to really grasp the understanding of how can I be in a position to still be winning, even though I'm not necessarily successful in the eyes of the people observing me, right? I can't tell you how many times people have thought I was wasting my time. I can't tell you how many times people have thought that I was an absolute failure. And something in my heart kept me going. Something in my heart keeps me going to know that my heart knows exactly what it's talking about. And it knows that the people that are willing to connect to what I'm saying from the heart are the ones that are actually going to receive the blessing from it. And that's you listening in, because, you know, it's just amazing. And I just want you to believe in yourself. I want you to believe in yourself when nobody else gives you the benefit of the doubt. Because that is what's going to build resolve. That is what's going to build strength. That is what's going to keep you coming back, even when you feel like quitting. Even when you've done, 30, 40, 50 something auditions. Hopefully it doesn't take that long, but I know sometimes it can seem like a long, long time before you book anything. And if you're in the boat that I'm in or was in, you'd be doing some really good auditions. Like, I'm just looking through my auditions and I'm saying, my God, like, I did like a really, really fantastic job. I auditioned for this show coming on OWN. It looks like a really, really good show. The script was amazing when I did it. The casting director from Stranger Things was casting this show. And when I tell you, she called me in for 4 different roles, and I just killed it. Every single role that I read for. Every single one. It went from politician to preacher to dancer to singer. And I killed every single one of them. Didn't get one call back. But see, because I believe in myself, I look back at those auditions and I say, you know what? I did a fantastic job. And I know I did a fantastic job because I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it from the heart. I'm doing it from a state of love. And so that said, you know what? Not this time, but the next one. And so that's what we have to do. That's what I desire you to do, is when you start feeling down on yourself, start looking at some of your past work. Visit your IMDb. For me, a lot of times, I need to go back to my IMDb to see the journey that I've come through that's been able to lead me to where I am today. And it helps all of the time to see. Even when I look at some of the reels that I've had, that I've created, and the stuff that I've been really fortunate enough to accomplish and to have the experience of doing, it invigorates me so much. And that's what you need to keep moving forward, because ultimately you've got to find ways to believe in yourself, preferably without anything outside of you, by tapping into your divine source. But if you need, use the stuff that you've already done. It's not a bad thing to go back and look at a movie that you participated in. It's not a bad thing to say on movie night, you know what? I'm going to rent a movie that I was in, and I need to see myself on film so I can get the feeling of what that was like. Because that's going to create the difference. That's going to help you to believe in yourself. That's going to help you to rise higher than you've ever even expected. And no matter what anybody else is, this will be the determining factor. It's not when things are going really well that we're tested. It's when nothing is happening. It's when the world has counted us out and it seems like nothing we can do could ever make any headway. That's when the real character test comes for us to basically say, you know what? Bring it. I'm going to show you what I'm made of, and I'm going to be stronger, and I'm going to keep going because I see a light. My heart says that there is a light. And once again, there will be people who do not understand, 1, or 2, just don't like the fact that you have the courage to do what you're doing. It's interesting because I developed these concepts called the vibrational actor in accordance with this podcast, The Actors Area. I also did this project called Become a Powerhouse in Auditioning, which I just absolutely love with every fiber of my being, because this is huge when it comes to auditioning. And I've also written just a whole bunch of articles. And I can remember a time when I was leaning more towards focusing on the teaching aspect of things as opposed to acting. And so I embraced it. And I would literally get into my state write down what came from my heart and just share it on every Facebook group for actors you can ever think of, on my LinkedIn, on my Twitter, uh, everywhere. And it was just so amazing to see myself put that out. But would you know, like, not long after I started doing that, there were these people who decided that, and this is the problem with individuals who are not connected to themselves because they have to tear you down to make up for what they're missing. They will always look to justify you by what's on the outside of you. One of my favorite directors who did No Football Here, Jim Cummings, said something so amazing. He said, when I'm booking a film, I don't look to see what somebody's IMDb is like. I don't look to see what they've done and, their body of work. I look to see who they are now and who they are in this role, right? And if people would look and see who you are, the essence of who you are, which for me was coming through my writing, coming through my videos, coming through my podcasts, they could see that I am here to help in the most wonderful way possible. But yet and still, majority of the world lives on ego, right? It's just the way it is. They live on ego, and so they're going to find a way to try and tear you down. But once again, I'm here to tell you, believe in yourself. When that type of shit happens, applaud. Pat yourself on the back because you are doing something so impactful, and this could be for you. In my case, it was like sharing and teaching and stuff, but for you, this could be you continue to pursue an acting career years at a time. There's people in LA who've been in LA for like 10 years and are still going because they're believing that there is something that is there to help them to be the very best they can in their chosen career. And for you, this could be the case. But when something like that happens, when somebody doubts you and somebody questions you, know that is the calling card to believe, and to believe like you've never believed in yourself before, and to really start to see the light because it's coming and it will come. And I promise you, if you've been in it that long, your day is coming. Just be patient, give thanks, be prepared for anything, and just know that you are worthy. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure today. We'll talk soon. Take care.